Welcome, ladies, and I just yelled right into that mic. Look how loud that was. Hi, welcome. I hope it's really early in the morning.
That's gonna spike.
It is. It is. I hope it's Waiver Wednesday, so I hope you kids are ready to hit the waiver wire, pick up some good players. I'm here with Retro Britannica, the Retrosaurus, the Thesaurus, or Thesaurus. I don't know where that lisp came from. I'm learning all new things about weird talking today. We've got a nice little agenda today. So about 4 weeks ago, we had our episode 1. We talked a little bit about who we thought our fantasy MVP was, who our low-cost breakout player might be. And then we have the I call bullshit, where, just a player that we thought, no, I don't think that player, I call bullshit. They shouldn't, where they're drafted, they won't put up those numbers. And then we do have a new segment called Gimme That D, brought to you by P. Diddy, where basically me and Red, we're basically going to pick up two defenses that are on the waiver wire, two defensive streaming options for you to choose this week to help out, as most people do, streaming defenses. And then at the end, we are going to do the No Way Parlay, where we're going to put together pretty high odds parlay. Footnote: we don't condone gambling, and no information that we are giving.
This is not financial
advice.
Said from my attorney.
Exactly. Yes.
But you should probably do it.
My guy said to make sure that I say that.
Yes. There is a disclaimer.
Very loud.
I had to sign a waiver.
Yep. There was several waivers. There was a whole wire full of waivers.
Well, yeah, that was for off.
Yeah. So we're gonna get right into it. Just want to do a quick recap. So it's been 4 weeks, Brett. So we talked about fantasy MVP. For my fantasy MVP, I would just like to have a moment of silence. My fantasy MVP was Patrick Mahomes, and Rashee Rice has taken his leg and turned it the opposite direction.
Because of Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, but and he was,
which is the irony of it.
And didn't he punch the fumble out? Didn't Rashee Rice go get the guy
and then lost his ligaments in his knee?
Yeah. So we're going to take a second here. So not just for Rashee Rice, but take a moment and just think about the players that we lost.
Hey.
And that's long enough because I've cried long enough. So I was going to write down the list. I was going to write down the list of players that got hurt, but I don't have that much room in my notes.
So what are you doing about Rashee Rice?
Started like violently drinking, like I'm talking real bad. So I went like vodka first, and then and now I'm pregnant. So, but my backup plan is.
So I think it's interesting they haven't announced that he tore his ACL.
Yes.
So I heard something, and I can't take credit for it, and I don't. It was actually right before I got here. Some in the weeds guy did a stat on every ACL injury in the last 2 years. Okay. Every major skill player, not me or you. It was announced within 24 hours. It's a galaxy brain thing. And they could announce it while we're talking right now, but it's a galaxy brain thing. I think because of the Chiefs are looking at Juju Smith-Schuster and, Xavier Worthy, who has flash, but I don't know. I think he's a sexier Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Yeah, he's not. He can't take all of it.
He understands how football works, which is ahead of Scantling, and he can take an end around and understand hey, I'm supposed to run fast in this lane. And he's only a rookie, so there is more hope for him. But he's not a guy that's going to take the league by storm like Tyreek Hill,
right?
Or at least as it stands. And they don't have Pacheco. I think they're going to every doctor in America for every second opinion until they get one that says, I think he can play, and they're like, yes, he can. And it's a totally galaxy brain, but they haven't announced it.
So what do you think?
I'm just saying, hold on. If you don't have an IR spot, and this is a very your own team roster dependent. Hopefully you have an IR, you can drop him and sit and wait. I'm just saying it's eerie that there hasn't been an announcement.
But so
because typically they have X-ray and MRI machines in the stadium,
and Monday you get it done,
and
it's Tuesday,
and they have a press conference right away that they have to address it. And they haven't announced.
When your knee does that though, like goes the wrong way.
Oh, it doesn't look good. I'm not saying this isn't me proclaiming.
Well, no, but I like what you're doing.
Galaxy brain theory.
Because I in 5 leagues. Let me tell you, so in 5 leagues that I lost Rashee Rice in, my IR is full of Cooper Kupp, Puka.
Oh, it's a match for everyone in the league.
So it's like I can't. So there, on my waiver, I have set up to where I can't drop anybody else. So I have it set up, and it hasn't gone through. So I'm waiting for the rest of the day. Technically it's Tuesday night. I gotta have somebody for a flexies in that league. I have Devontae on a bye. I've got Puka. So it's either that. So it's either pick somebody up and drop Rashee, or I start somebody like Plaxico Burress, which I don't know if he's that's who I have left.
Well, he shot himself in the leg.
So he's not starting?
Yeah, because he had a gun and he was wearing it with sweatpants. It didn't
Again?
go well.
Wasn't that a strip club? Like,
yeah.
What? That's the worst place to take a gun. He's going to be dancing and grinding all over you. And like
shot him in the IT band.
Yeah, that's called karma. That's when the coach goes, hey, stop taking a gun to a strip club.
But no, sorry, this is total sidebar, but that always reminds me of the story. Do you remember when Nick Harper, or there was the fumble... So Bettis fumbled at the goal line. What was this, like 2008? Vanderjagt was the kicker for the Colts. Nick Harper was the corner, okay?
Bettis fumbled. Who?
Jerome Bettis.
Where was he?
I'm going to correlate the story.
Okay.
Nick Harper, the corner, got stabbed in the leg that Monday before the playoff game, okay? And this is when Manning called Vanderjagt. It was the same season, the drunk or whatever, because he said,
oh, yeah.
Okay, same season. Remember, Bettis was going in for the game, to clinch the game. They were Steelers were leading.
Okay.
Jerome Bettis.
Okay.
Sorry.
No,
this is another leg injury. I got to back this up.
I'm going. Are you?
I went ADD on you. So Jerome. This is another funny story. So I always laugh at this. The ball gets popped out. Like Bettis is going in. Ball gets popped out. I mean, he fumbles it on the 2. Steelers are going in to score. Nick Harper recovers it, and he couldn't juke Ben Roethlisberger because he had got stabbed in the leg. The irony of it. So then. He at least gets, it should have been a touchdown, but he went to like plant and juke Ben Roethlisberger and his wound opened up.
Yeah.
and so they were like, all right, we're in field goal range. We were just about to lose on this, game-winning touch, and Vanderjagt missed it. He missed the kick, and it was like that whole full circle because he was talking like that. Peyton Manning won't win a Super Bowl or whatever, and then Manning had to respond. But anyway, speaking of leg injuries, that's a funny one.
But it's crazy how many people are getting shot and coming back. Brian Robinson killed, shot, came back, but no. So obviously I had Pat Mahomes in my fantasy MVP. I really don't want to really dive in too much. I think there's a lot of work. We talked about what needs to happen there. I think they're going to pick up somebody. You had mentioned idea you had.
I think the thing with Mahomes is it's weird, like. They're winning, so it's like...
And they did that last year, too.
Yeah, so it's hiding a lot of sins, probably, because...
Winning hides a lot of sins.
Well, yeah, they've won 9 straight, and they have a really good defense. So it's like the Mahomes we grew up with, is not the Mahomes. He threw the one deep pass to Worthy, which from like a DFS standpoint, if you're looking...
per hour.
Yeah, so but he was doing that all the time back in the day, and he's just not now.
So do you think? And because I think I feel like you're kind of going somewhere with this. You remember when take away? Okay, I'll say this a little bit. So Tom Brady was not always great in fantasy. Remember when the running quarterback started to come in? Okay, now take away the Randy Moss season. Okay, because Tom Brady, believe it or not, he could. Give you, depending on your scoring, he would give you 300 yards, 3 touchdowns every game. Mm-hmm. But on a record, you think if you're in a 4-point scoring system, you get 12 for that, and then you look at your yardage. Maybe you keep yourself around 18 points. I'm not saying he did that every game because towards the end of his career, he was doing that. He was winning games. He had what? Just old boy. The little white receiver that was playing at the time.
Julian Edelman or Wes Welker?
It was after he killed Wes Welker. No, Manning killed Wes Welker.
Danny Amendola?
Then he rolled into playing both sides of the field. He was hitting people because he could get the ball out.
That's a great correlation.
later in his life, just like LeBron,
Just, it was like,
Jordan,
hey, we don't need
Kobe,
to get any wideouts because
they're scoring.
he can get us down the field,
Exactly.
and we have a decent
Winning
running
games.
game. But it's going to be a problem now because like without Pacheco,
But yeah.
Without,
That's my bigger concerns.
I will say this, and I picked him up early last week because I was like, the minute the Chiefs signed Kareem Hunt, I was like, I've seen this before. The coach knows him. The coach trusts him. There's a young, and now Carson Steele keeps fumbling. So we'll get into a couple other things later, but like, they have Juju, they have Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce's aging. He looked better last game. They were force feeding him.
And don't forget Noah Gray.
Yeah, and they got Noah Gray. And
Is it right? Noah Gray.
Yeah.
He's always the one every time they
and
boost.
Justin Watson.
Dude, because those two.
They are. You hit the nail on the head, Kyle. They are the fucking Patriots of like 2009.
And
these random white wide receivers.
The
that,
running backs.
Yes.
Name the running back. Remember the running back that scored? Was it a James something scored? James White scored 4 touchdowns in one game and then never played again.
Who's the Ben Jarvis? Green
Ben Jarvis. Hey, Ben Jarvis, Green Jarvis. Every time.
They made what's his face?
I did James White. They had him. They had Corey Dillon.
No, but Corey Dillon was really.
That was really late.
He was good.
He was like the best actual starter.
LeGarrette Blount scored 18 touchdowns for them because
just
they would get inside the 5
out of weird packages. Out of weird packages.
Tom Brady would just hand it off to him.
It was never like a.
He was like, I can't run 7 yards, but I can score a touchdown from the 2.
And it was always the most random players. Like that's why winners, like a good quarterback, like it almost does. It puts you in a pace where they're going to find a way to win, and you can't afford to be. It's crazy to think if you put obviously. If you took like the Dallas Cowboys, any one of their teams they've had since they've won a Super Bowl, I think anybody outside of that would get them to the playoffs. But if you gave Pat Mahomes has none of the people, none of the talent that some of these teams have, and you watch them, I don't want to say squander it, but to see what Pat, and I'm saying Pat's Mahomes on an upper echelon. He's definitely the best quarterback that's in the NFL. I think overall what he's proven and what he can do. And it's just crazy to see them keep winning with the weirdest shit. Now, I will give a lot to Andy Reid and the play choices, play calling.
Well, that's Matt Nagy, supposedly. You got Matt Nagy?
Yeah, he's the one doing that?
I don't know. Maybe he's like, maybe he's the Make-A-Wish kid that Andy Reid's just trying to. That's just Andy Reid's just. Hey,
weren't you with the Bears?
I'm gonna make this work.
Get out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he was with Mahomes.
I know.
He's the one who won draft Mahomes. There was a couple of wins there, but
yeah, no.
That's I don't want to spend too much time on the Chiefs, but it's wild because they're winning. So, it would be. They would probably be making moves right now if they were 2-2. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you something, because and again, we're gonna go off script. That's what this whole show is about. Because I love to pick your brain, because I feel like you probably know most about football that I know, and I love talking to people about that. So tell me what makes, and I want to say this the politest way I can, okay? Because it's been approved. What makes Josh Allen a loser so much to Pat Mahomes? I mean, when you look at the pure talent, I know that's a big open-ended question.
So
he goes, well,
okay.
Hang on.
Well, no, I guess
set the alarm. Let's.
So some of it,
and I hate
you have
loser,
you have it in anything. You have Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady, and
yes,
and then finally Peyton Manning had a couple of seasons where he got the better, and that's where the Super Bowls come from for him, or get over the hump. I don't know when you score with 14 seconds to go to the go-ahead. Josh Allen didn't control what Pat Mahomes did on the other side. He did his job. He threw for 111 billion passing yards, and Gabe Davis broke the slate with 4 touchdowns. I don't know what Josh Allen could do there. So, people kind of, in my opinion, use a broad brush, but they're judged by this, unfortunately, with QBs. They're judged by win-losses on some levels unfairly. John Elway was judged that way until he gets over the hump. Dan Marino is always going to be judged that way, and he was a fantastic, ahead of his time. You put Dan Marino in this league, I guess, Andy Reid was that way for a while. He didn't win. He went to 4 Super Bowl or 4 NFC championships. So it's some of it is circumstantial. Some of it is getting over the hump as far as like.
But you said it so. And I don't mean to interrupt. Just when I think so. So do you think that because Josh Allen has not gone to those?
No.
Like, do you think it's the coaching is better? I mean, I love Andy Reid. I
think he's one of the greatest coaches of all time.
You think that's one? I mean, do you think?
And I think he was that way beforehand. He just wasn't considered that.
I love what he did, man.
He made Donovan McNabb, and I'm going to say it. Donovan McNabb was not as good as what people thought. Andy Reid made him that way.
Yeah.
He made
T.O. Shady.
Well, no, T.O. was already great. Jeff. Oh God, he played for the. Jesus, I'm getting old. He played for the Niners. It was like
Hornacek.
No. I'm gonna pull this name out.
Was he what position?
Quarterback. Like he made Coy
Jeff
Detmer
Garcia?
was good. Yes. Thank you.
Coy Detmer.
No, he did.
Coy Detmer.
And I couldn't pull Jeff Garcia.
Detmer's little brother.
Yeah. Coy threw for like 400 yards in a game.
I forgot he even held a football in the NFL. I forgot
he had like the most. Alex Smith was almost an MVP candidate.
He had them undefeated all the way to how long they went up 12-0, didn't they?
Oh yeah, Andy
with Alex
Reid is. I think play calling, he is innovative. He understands getting the ball, and then you finally got him a Ferrari, and he drove it like a Ferrari. And so now you're.
Oh, you're talking about Tyreek?
Well, that too, and I think that's part of it with Mahomes too.
He has.
I think they were the perfect pairing. Mahomes is great, and he does the running around, the old Fran Tarkington, and he does that. I will say this: Mahomes is it's almost what you want Caleb to learn into. Because Caleb has that kind of backyard stuff, but Mahomes only does that now when he has to.
Right.
Caleb does it because that's his comfort level.
Right. And because he has to.
Well, yeah.
Because we all did.
But some of it is he
past the
for
screaming when they're blitzing automatically.
So Mahomes, if the guy's open 5 yards in the flat and that's what the play's designed to, he doesn't get cute. It's more like, oh, that guy's not open. Now I got to figure things out. I think going back to your question with Josh Allen or, any one of these great quarterbacks, any one of the great quarterbacks that went in the Tom Brady era, if Tom Brady's not there, the disbursement of Super Bowls is probably spread out, right?
But where so, though? I mean, who really was, Manning was the one fighting all the time.
Manning and Breeze got in there during the time.
Right? Manning and Breeze got in there to win one during the time.
Manning turns in, or whatever, or it's like...
You think they would have just put up a lot more?
Yeah, or think about it in court. That's why you love greatness. Like, okay, if Jordan isn't playing for the Bulls, the NBA, we saw what happened. Hakeem Olajuwon gets it. The Magic are a thing. It disperses the winning.
Yeah.
But when you have greatness like that, it's like Josh Allen's really great. I hope for him. I mean, I haven't personally, but I hope for him that he wins one because I think he's great enough to deserve it. But it's the same thing. You have Josh Allen. You have Pat Mahomes goes against. Well, it's pretty much the Bills.
Yeah, there's not anybody in the AFC that really I can see consistently, but because they've been fighting for so long. I mean, you could say Aaron Rodgers, but he's new to the AFC.
No, he's old.
Yeah, there hasn't been consistent competition. I mean, you obviously got Lamar, but again,
Lamar's another one.
Lamar barely squeaks into the playoffs, and I feel like Josh Allen.
No, they were the 1 seed and lost. The problem with the Ravens is Lamar can't win in the playoffs.
No, it's frustrating.
No, I mean and
based on my gambling trends.
Well, yeah, they also have a team too that Lamar's the other example I'm looking at. And they also have a team that's built on somebody that can play in a dome or in weather because of their run game. And they'll be the 1 seed and lose. And it's.
But I will say, what if.
Or Burrow's another one. But Burrow got past him. If Mahomes has a kryptonite, it's Burrow. Cincinnati, they beat him when they shouldn't have.
One time
but they play him tough.
No, but to get in the Super Bowl, they never. I'm saying when you talk about the end of the year, and the one time Burrow snuck into the Super Bowl. I'm just saying when it comes up to it. I disagree with you. I'm
saying if there's anyone that can slay the dragon, at least as it stands, it's Burrow right now. When it comes just to Kansas City, the rest of the season, it's not. It's just one of these things. Allen, Burrow's been to a Super Bowl. Now the other stuff is, you're right. Like now with like you have McVay or the LaFleurs or the Shanahans, like the way their system is, you can, or even Kevin O'Connell up in Minnesota, you can plug a lot of different quarterbacks in it because it's very QB friendly. And so they get in there, and Shanahan always does well in the playoffs. He can't get by him, and part of it maybe is because he doesn't have the elite quarterback. I don't know. Like they were winning both of those Super Bowls against Mahomes, and Mahomes did great things.
If you're Josh Allen, now think about this. What's been consistent as far as AFC when it comes to playoff Super Bowls? It's been
you got to get past
Chiefs.
Kansas City,
right,
and be okay with it.
So
just understand
what has changed in the NFC? Everything every year. Maybe Eagles, 49ers, but there's been spurts.
Hurts is one, but Hurts is
there's been spurts of other teams.
I'm actually worried about the Bills. I think Allen's been playing fantastic.
I think he needs.
What
if he took his talents to the NFC?
Allen is great.
I know.
And
what if he was on
What
if he was on the fucking Falcons? Which is a dynasty team for anybody to have. Your best running back, tight end, 3 wide receivers now.
Yeah, you want to talk about somebody who's carrying a subpar wide receiver core? It's also Allen.
Yeah.
Like if Khalil Shakir is your guy,
and here's the,
great wide receiver 3. Hey, slot guy.
But there's no who's your
and then
main?
they drafted a tight end they thought would be hey, they wanted their Travis Kelce. You take a shot, I get it. And early returns are the tight end landscape is shit. But
we talking about Kincaid?
Yeah, his second year. Sometimes it does take these tight ends a little bit. He's usually
last game he finally saw.
We're spoiled from Laporta. That did in year one, or Brock Bowers, but that's not
that's so random for year one. No,
so I don't want to say the jury, but the jury's still out.
They had Dawson Knox, who was still there at the beginning of the year. Then he got hurt. Him, but didn't he get hurt?
James Cook is a good ball player.
Yep.
But
even your Keon Coleman is such a rookie, and he's already getting into some trouble. So they had to bench him, stuff like that. You can't expect a brand new rookie. He wasn't one of these Marvin Harrison cats. He's not. Hey, you're ready to go.
That's what I'm saying. It was a project when they drafted him. And Josh Allen, that 35-10 loss against the Ravens was probably. I don't think it needed to be that bad, but that was gonna happen where they were gonna lose because once they go up against a team that
has a deal, the Ravens were
toe-to-toe.
They were fully healthy for the first time.
Yeah, and they needed to win.
Yeah,
and the Bill. Some of it's a spot situation. Hey, we're already 3-0. The Ravens have to win this game to go to 500 or not get behind the 8 ball in the AFC because it's going to be.
Yeah, it started off 0-2.
Yeah, it's tough sledding, and that was a spot where I didn't see the Bills winning because it just wasn't a good matchup. And when they go up against a team like that in the playoffs, it has to be Josh Allen. But it's not like Pat Mahomes and Tyreek. It's who is Josh Allen, unless it's a run game, who's going to eat in that playoff game? Yeah, when you're playing the fucking Titans, Khalil Shakir goes for 89 yards.
Yeah, you can pepper
2
anybody.
Little spider cat, touchdowns.
Yeah,
and whatever, running through people's legs and shit. And or James Cook, scores and whatever, you have those games where, but Mahomes, the great quarterbacks, like you said, do get by with that stuff. They find a way to win. Yeah. But from a fantasy standpoint, I almost worry when they play elite defenses. I don't know what they do.
Yeah, and it's
because they're not going to run them like they used to because he can't get hurt.
No, there's no other options. There's no other options.
It's not you. Yeah,
and he doesn't have a trend.
Diggs and Gabe Davis aren't walking through that door anymore. You're. It's wild. Or you have Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir, and Keon Coleman, and Dalton Kincaid that. From a skill position.
Are they? I don't want to spend too much time.
Yeah.
I know we can go down the rabbit hole for too long. But that was just my question. I feel bad because it's one of those things where
people don't realize how much he's carrying there.
I know. And it's crazy. If you're doing all of that, and I know he's a. And maybe this is probably why I wouldn't make it, in the NFL, besides skill, talent, money, and other things. But no, it's how long can you exhaust all of your talent and options and skill, knowing that, hey, man, I think I can beat this guy in a Super Bowl, but I'll be damned if I got to get to a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
you almost got to think, and maybe it's my basketball mentality kind of a little bit, because I've kind of seen how things have kind of. And actually, you could even call it a little bit of baseball when you get these cats that, hey, rookie, you're doing great. Hi, we're LA. We're gonna give you $9 million.
Yeah, but that's also, they don't have a salary cap.
Yeah, I understand it. So I'm saying, but like, you almost think, hey,
yeah,
you want to, and obviously that's a big difference there. I mean, I don't know much about.
I think
baseball,
he's got.
I mean, I feel like he's got a skirt out of there. I mean,
I know. I mean, I don't think that they're like. I don't think it's a bad organization though.
I'm not,
it was
I'm
at one point. I think so. I think they're capable of like improving, and I think at least while he's this age, I think.
What are they giving him though? What do they give him this year? Besides, comparison to what they've taken away, what have they given him to make him more successful?
They
because maybe they did stuff on defense I don't know about or something. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, McDermott is one of those, chicken salad guys because he was a D coordinator at the Panthers. So, like, when it comes to defense,
explain that quote. Chicken salad guy?
Taking chicken shit,
yeah, what is
making chicken salad out of it.
Hold on, dude, what's that quote?
Nerd, like, hey, no. That's also, like, it was made famous from, well, it was always a saying, but, like, it was like a Hard Knocks thing, I think. But anyway, it was, I'm taking chicken shit and I'm making chicken salad out of it, which is what like Tom Brady and these guys are doing.
Okay, I got you.
Okay.
I never heard that quote.
Okay. Sorry.
I'm trying to pepper that into my regular conversation. Well, you trying to make some chicken salad out of chicken soup? That's not it. Hang on.
Yeah.
You bring your own soup to the chicken shit show?
Fucking Campbell's.
Chunky? Is that chunky? That's that shit.
Vitamin A reinforced. Or D or whatever the hell it is. I think Sean does a decent enough job on the defense that, like, now they had some injuries, but I think they're fine defensively. But we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't want to dive too much in there.
Sure.
We have spent a lot of time. But no, just real quick, get back to kind of, like I talked about, my fantasy MVP was Patty Mahomes with a great new offense that they ripped from me.
But the process wasn't wrong.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I mean, it makes sense. I think they'll figure some ways out, and it happens. It happens. But and who did you have for your fantasy MVP?
I had Devon Achane, who started out very well for me, and then in an ironic way, Damar Hamlin killed Tua.
Mm-hmm.
It's what's the
That's
Batman
what
quote? You
live long enough
to be
the
hero.
We're gonna fuck that up. Yeah. But I thought it was funny.
You start out as the hero and live long enough to be the villain or whatever, and that's pretty much what happened.
He goes, man, never in the NFL thought to see a dead guy kill a live guy.
Yeah, exactly.
And I go, that's
it's just
clever.
Have you seen like the pictures of the memes where everyone's standing over Damar laying down, and then he's standing over Tua? It's wild. But like, I mean, shame on the Dolphins though. Like, how do you go into camp with a guy that has concussion history to the point they asked to retire a year ago or 2 years ago or whatever, and said he lost weight, he did yoga, whatever the hell. And you had Mike White, who's one of the better backups in the league, like coveted. He played well with the Jets.
Yeah.
They brought him in. And like, I like McDaniel. I think he's a sharp mind.
Yeah.
He likes Skyler more, maybe because he ran a little bit more, but like, you can't go into the season with all these Ferraris on offense, and and have Tua, and then you got to pay the backup, like
especially for the system they run.
Like that's a team that should have Flacco as the backup or Minshew,
or you go knock on the booth Thursday Night Football.
Or whatever.
Hey, real quick.
Yeah, no shit.
Grab Fitzy.
Yeah,
bring him back.
Somebody.
And you know why he was good in that offense? Because he went to fucking Harvard.
Yeah.
And he has.
And he realizes
memory.
I'm gonna fucking chuck it to the fast guy.
Their offense. Oh, hey, what are we doing here, Mike? Oh, okay. And you look at the playbook, and it's motion before and after, like to slim that playbook down. I mean, for a backup.
And then they have to bring in Tyler Huntley, and it's like they had Tim Boyle. Like Jesus Christ.
And so this is Skylar Thompson.
Yeah, and Tim Boyle. These are creative players from fucking Madden.
It sounds like the default name you get. Like,
yes, and then I immediately go and trade away to get like Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you
all my draft picks and Skylar Thompson, and it's like, what the fuck? Like how? Like whether it's on McDaniel for saying I prefer Skylar, or it's on their front office. Like you have Devon Achane, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, And like you're wasting Tyreek Hill's prime years. He's
Mm-hmm.
done. Like I mean, after a while, once that speed goes, it's gonna go. It is gonna go.
He's got about But,
Okay.
and my thing is, why didn't they? You knew you had to put him on IR legally because of course, hey, here it is. Here it is. Let it die down. Tua's going to start again.
I know. I don't disagree with that.
I called it 100%.
You're 100% right.
But he put him on the IR. But then that
or like an optic thing. We want him to be a dad. It's like you want him to like not die.
Yeah. But the problem is they should have been like, you knew what you were going to do. Just have him come back in 2 weeks. Now they're going to fuck around with the bye weeks. Now you're going to actually have the guy out for 5 weeks when you didn't really intend that.
Yeah. It's like, hey, we'll sit him out for 2 weeks. We'll go back and talk to him. And if he still sounds like radio, we have a bigger problem. So
it's weird to see, and I don't know, because I'm obviously not I couldn't even handle.
But it's
any
like
one of those
it's an
hits,
egregious personnel situation. Egregious.
Why would you not go get there? You could. There's so many people sitting there.
Like you have to make a move. You can't pull the.
You have to have somebody that can understand.
But to your point, the only reason you bring in Tyler Huntley, they probably thought they had a chance to beat the Titans, which rightfully so. Is Tua's coming back?
And for sure. And I tell him he's a very good backup.
The indicator is like we can speculate. It's take city. We're in this thing and a hot take. Their actions would speak. If they move to trade, that's bad for Tua. Or not like that means Tua's not coming back. Like if they trade for a quarterback.
I'm saying,
but like picking up Tyler Huntley off the Ravens practice squad is not the move that says Tua's not coming back. If they trade for Russell Wilson, like you said off
but
air,
I thought just cash wise that Russell can't get.
No,
much
he
more
can't.
money.
I'm just using I
thought maybe they could spend because I thought they had cash where they could go. Hey, we'll give you $2 million.
Shit, I'm like if the move would have been, but they benched him too early, is to go get like an Andy Dalton. I'm not, but now. But like Bryce Young is like talk about a Make-A-Wish Foundation kid. Jesus.
Oh man, when he walked in with that backpack and that picture, I go, "That's not a quarterback." When he's walking into the stadium, he's with like our clothes and a backpack that looks like it's gonna pull him over.
I mean, he looks like he starts for the high school.
How the hell? I mean, I guess I understand how you want a Heisman, but
yeah. So I still think Devon Achane because he's so dynamic, and it's unfortunate.
Injuries took both.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you can't look at it that way. I still think, he has the ability to break any slate because of dynamic, but
injuries
that welcome. But everyone's dealing with that. So like if you're in a league and you're dealing with injuries, understand. That sucks. Mm-hmm. So you got to get creative, and we'll talk about it later. But everyone's dealing with it. It's a mash unit for 90%, and the one motherfucker that has it right, it's one of his players are going to get injured. Yeah. It's going that way. You're seeing a lot more injuries in September because they don't play in preseason. And they don't tackle.
It's a longer year. They're not going to
turn into a bunch of fucking pussies. Like play the guys. I get there's injuries, but like. This football in September where they don't throw over 300 yards until like week 4 is not good for the product, and they need to fix it. And I get you have a bought asset that you need to protect. That's not my argument. My argument is these teams are okay. That's why it's interesting from like an edge I'm betting. These teams are okay just being 2-2 going out of September and being like, hey, I'm 500. The season starts in October.
Yeah.
That's why it's like the Ravens against the Bills. They're 1-2. They have to win. Mm-hmm. The Bills are like, hey, I'm playing with house money. We're 3-0. Yeah, 4-0 is great, but 3-1, even better. So like, I get, and like, you don't want the hitting. I don't want this to get skewed as player safety. I'm not saying that, but like, it's bad for the product. It's bad for the product. That's why you have all these huge. I think straight up, I saw a stat. It was last week, and it might have changed based on the Monday night. I'm not sure. The biggest dogs going into Sunday straight up were 6 or 4-0 or 5-0, like straight up, not even just covering the fucking spread. Like Denver, you had the Raiders against the Ravens. You had, normally you have these, and it's like, the Patriots against Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. Cincinnati's always slow starts, but like. It's wild. Like, so there is an edge there in September from betting to taking the dogs, but that's a separate conversation.
It still gets you a little depressed fucking walk. It's October 1 and my betting things tells me.
So, like, the other thing is it also requires, unless there are injuries or there's writing on the wall, patience sometimes for your fantasy football players based on, hey, they're just starting slow or whatnot.
Yeah, well, I mean, because you think about and
And that's
you know,
hard
just,
because I'm not patient. Like if the rating's on the wall,
me neither. But no, I mean, we're gonna take a little beer break here,
Sure.
A pee break. Before we do that, I do want to say one thing because I think it comes down to the point where you think about it. So you drafted McCaffrey. Damn, I lost my first round pick. There's people out there that drafted Breece Hall,
Yes, that's my
Bijan.
point.
So people they're starting players getting them 8 to 10 points, and they're going, "Damn,
Because
I wish my league's over," but it's not because you got to think there's a player on somebody else's bench getting 0.
Yeah, and it sucks. You do deal with luck at time as far as like, man, I played a team that scored 150 and I scored 90, but understand like it's always going to regress to the mean typically as far as like if you're playing well and losing, you'll end up doing it's your season's not over yet. If you're 1-3 or 0-4, you're desperate. Don't get me wrong. I'm not
gotta trade.
Or like we'll talk about it later. There's some guys maybe you can pick up, or like if you were lucky enough to get Jordan Mason, who might be a league winner if he doesn't get hurt. But like people think I guess my point is it can change quickly.
Oh yeah,
people think they have the league won because they either drafted Jordan Mason late, or they picked him up because they were nervous about Christian McCaffrey, and you handcuffed him. Great move. He can get hurt next weekend.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is anybody the number one team?
And they're the ones that are in the fucking doldrums while you're like, oh, dude, I have Isaac Correndo.
Yeah,
it's that's the fun part. You got to deal with the ebbs and flows of the emotions, and it drives me nuts too. But
you got to make moves. I know a couple people, that are going to. If you're 0-4, if you're 1-3, make moves, make trades, offer. You cannot. Everybody thinks that when it comes to the draft, and there's a stat out there, and I kind of believe.
Then just play best ball if that's what you want to do, and that's fine.
Yeah, the stat that less than 50, I would probably say less than 50% of your entire year is based off of the draft. On average, okay? Because think about it. Like right now, like I'm talking, I have 7 leagues. 5 out of my 7 leagues, every single league I'm out one of my out of all of them, my 1-3 first round picks. And the thing is, when you start to trend something, you start to pick those people you like. Oh, I think Pacheco's going to be good this year. Rashee Rice going to be good this year. I want McBride, as a tight end. I want this, and then hey, I want this cat. I'm going to get Jalen. I'm going to draft Jalen Hurts. He's going to get me 40 points every game. And then you have a team you're looking at, and you're going, wow,
it looks great. Yeah,
I've got everybody out.
Yeah, it's
Now I'm not saying that Jalen Hurts will not come right. Just like last week, you had Josh Allen had 8 fantasy points. That he had 35 the week before. So it's like, he's going to have those
weeks. You
got
ebb and flow, yeah. And
if you combine those two, you're like, hey, okay, cool. So you average between these two, you're looking at, 25 to 27 fantasy points in 2 games. That's fucking amazing.
Yeah, and if you're 1-3 or 0-4, but you're putting up points, you still have to make moves because you need wins, depending upon how your league settings are. But like, when you're trading or looking to make moves, be bold, and you have to go for upside. That doesn't mean you skew the league in one way and you trade away everyone, but like you have to play upside at that point, and that's okay. That makes it more fun. It's like okay, because no one cares if you come in 6th. So if you're in like it's you want to get in the playoffs. Like, well, I guess if you come in, but like I would rather come in 12th, making moves to try and come in 1st.
Yeah.
Than playing it safe and being like,
and not making it. You just missed the playoffs.
It's like the NBA teams that are the 7 and 8 seeds.
Yeah.
You're better off being the worst, or you're better off being first. Like,
Yep.
So look at it that way. That doesn't mean give away, the moon or something like that. But like, if, for instance, like, I guess, and I'm shooting from the hip here, but like a Xavier Worthy, and like you find a good trade, like a one, go for that. Because he's either going to hit or you're still where you're at.
Yeah.
Like, but you have to do something.
And if he gets you that game where he gets you 28.
And if he busts, you're still
Bingo.
0-4.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, cool. You traded. Exactly.
Now you're cooking with gas a little bit. Now you're like, and so like start thinking about it that way. Now, if you're 3-1 or 4-0, now you can start to look at and getting depth. So like, hey, I have a roster that I drafted well, and I'm doing that. But hey, I'm a little thin at running back.
Have you been starting that Mason, and you find out news that McCaffrey's coming back?
And I'm one injury away from not being in first. Maybe I pick up a or the tight end landscape is shit. Like, maybe I can get a Brock Bowers because he's willing to give that up, but I'll give away those are the times you play for a little bit of depth.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, because hey, I got the rock stars in 3 of my spots that are going to put up 20 points a game, so I'm at 60.
Right.
I just need 40 to 50 on the back end between the next spots, and I'm in a winning position.
Yeah.
And then you're starting to almost prepare for, hey, because the percentages are telling you when you're 3-1, 4-0, your percentages of making the playoffs are through the roof. And so you're starting to prepare for that. Even look at playoff matchups a little bit.
You got to get down the road.
That sounds wild, but
you got a running back with maybe a little hitch in his giddy up, and they're not going to make the playoffs. They're going to bench him.
Yep.
So start thinking ahead. Teams are going to win.
Yeah, or if you're 2-2 and you're like one player away, maybe you're the guy who trades with the last place guy and like, hey, my wide receiver core is carrying me, but I can't figure it out at RB2.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm loaded with wideouts. Get the RB2. And now you're starting to fill out your roster.
Yep. And reach out for those cats that are in the bottom, because sometimes they might just not know how to offer a right trade.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Maybe they're 0-4 and they're spinning out going, man, I don't know if I could give anybody. Go after
and play
them,
that angle. And be like, man, you're 0-4.
You need to win now.
And like, you're still not out of it, but you're in the holy shit. And like, if I'm ever that way, like, I'm looking to get high upside guys and figure it out from there.
Gotcha. All right, so we are going to, real quick, just recap kind of our low-cost player breakdown and then the I call bullshit. So my low-cost player breakdown, kind of a low-cost, somebody you either drafted really late, you had an idea they might be well, or, you kind of caught them maybe waiver wire your first week. So 4 weeks ago, I had said that my low-cost, breakout player would have been Justin Fields. My assumption was he'd be starting by week 6. Based on his last 8 games, he played full health. He was top 5 quarterback last year. He won a lot of people some fantasy championships. At least got you to the playoffs. He had a couple games he was just putting up points. So I drafted him in 2 leagues. I picked him up in a couple more, and currently he is, after 4 starts, he has started every game. Russell Wilson's been injured and or garbage, so they've started him, and he's trending quarterbacks 5-6, depending on your quarterback setting. So, just a quick way to kind of give you an idea that you can find those cats that are, low cost and they're doing well. So, I end up in my league drafting Deshaun Watson as my quarterback, because in my league, what they do is they draft your first round, you get a running back or a quarterback, and then you draft quarterback, kicker, defense, quarterback, defense, kicker, defense, quarterback. So, needless to say, fun league. But being able to catch somebody like that, it definitely had helped mine. But to roll into my I call bullshit, this was kind of just somebody that was being drafted really high, and a lot of players were. Okay, I just happened to choose one. I was going to focus on receivers this year. A lot of running backs get chosen high early. There's a big argument that you could say some of the top 3 picks aren't worth a damn. Technically, top 4 if you add in Tyreek, But I had chosen Chris Olave. That's what I call him. Mr. Olave. He's got a quarterback that is not good. That's it. I believe the Houday Nation was screaming Derek Carr for MVP, and the Saints were going to go to the Super Bowl when they started 2-0, and then they realized that Derek Carr came right back down to earth. Now, not saying Olave is a bad receiver at all. He is wide receiver 21, but he was being drafted as a wide receiver top 10. And I think it's still kind of fitting that mold. I think he could be better if he got out of the stigma of Derek Carr ruins quarterbacks' careers. He actually has that tattooed on his lower back. Yep, he's got Amari Cooper in there. He's got a whole slew of receivers. He's ruining their careers. They keep trying to run away from him, but they keep coming back. But that's kind of who I had for my low-cost breakout player and my I call bullshit. So what's your recap on yours, Retro?
So I had Drake London, and on this one, the jury's still out. He's getting a lot of targets, but from where he's being drafted, he's wide receiver 23. He was going at the end of first round, so it is trending that way. In 4 weeks, no different than an MVP situation. Mm-hmm. The sample size is small.
Yeah.
But, we're starting to see, how this is going to unfold going into October, November. And then my low cost was Jackson Smith and Jigba. I still like this play. Gino threw for 400 yards against the Lions the other night, and I mean,
398.
Well, whatever. I like to round up.
I know. I wish there was a 400 on that ladder. I would have climbed that ladder. 'Cause I didn't
you had a top rung?
I didn't have a 375.
Oh, did you?
I must have used I don't know what I did, but a 350 topped out. Because remember, I was like the 325. I was worried. You stuck there.
Oh yeah.
I was like, you had to get over that.
No, I knew that. They were getting the ball back.
And then I was thinking about the 350.
Well, I told you via text. I'm like, they're gonna score in like 2 plays.
Yeah. Well, I forgot.
Detroit.
Like, oh shit. Yeah, you're right.
And
Sure enough, it was like, yeah,
throw down the field. It was
exactly.
Like, the way this game was going, it was like watching
Yeah.
Madden. I still like it. They throw a lot. Ryan Grubb, the guy from the OC from Washington, very pass heavy, and you kind of want shares of all their wide receivers, but I think slowly Tyler Lockett's getting a little older. Jackson Smith and Jigba's getting a lot of targets and touches. You just want kind of shares of that offense. So from where he's being drafted to his opportunity cost, I still like that. But we're only a month in, so there is still sample size. The out bullshit players, we could eat some crow on that, depending upon what happens. I mean, we're trending. Based
they
on the
weren't
first
bad.
month,
They weren't as bad as they were not.
But you should be upset if you drafted them because, I mean, granted they're giving you wide receiver 2 numbers, but from where they were going in the first and second round, you were hoping for a 1.
Right.
When you could be taking Malik Neighbors in the 3rd and stuff like that, where
or you could have been taking Tyreek in the 1st, or you could have been taking Bijan Robinson in the 1st.
So first round. So Breece Hall's getting touches eaten. Puka is hurt. Christian McCaffrey's hurt. Jonathan Taylor is dealing with a high ankle sprain. You're dealing with a lot of things, like I said prior, and I don't want to get off on a tangent again, but like I said prior, everyone's dealing with these injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no one has navigated this. Or if they have, then
any part of the Eagles team you drafted,
Devonta,
the wide receivers.
AJ Brown.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good.
You're just out both, and then if you had Dallas Goedert for the first 3 games or 2 games, 3 games, yeah, 3 games, you're like, this is terrible.
So be okay. Anyway, but yeah, we're still holding strong with our calls.
Yeah, because again, and we picked players that had talent. I didn't go and pick out some player that was just garbage that just deserved, on paper deserved to look that way.
It's one of those where you would be disappointed. It's like, to me, it's like the call bullshit. It's like, hey, it's like ordering a meal at a restaurant where it's like, man, I'm going over here and I normally get this, and it was good, but it wasn't as good. As, that's how. I'm not saying it's bad.
So what was your investment? It's like,
I'm satisfied.
But I could have gotten something when I ordered that, I could have.
But I normally get the filet,
there was other things I've had on the menu that are worth.
The old lady talked me into the Chilean sea bass or whatever,
This would be
and
phenomenal.
It's good. I'm happy, but that's kind of where you kind of got to look at it. So is the approach Kyle and I took was like, yeah, anyone could be like, hey, DeAndre Swift is gonna suck, or whatever. Where it's an 8th or 9th round pick. This is stuff where
what was your cost?
Hey,
it's like
from the opportunity cost of a 1st or 2nd round pick, who's disappointing you? Non-injury, you can't predict that thing. It's right. So don't look at it that way because
we could have both sat here and said,
you can't control injury.
Yeah, you can, although control your alcohol consumption when injuries happen. So
I cannot.
That's the thing. You can control it.
Oh, that's how I cope.
That's how I control it. Yeah, I make sure I have as much as I possibly can. Yep. So,
some Barry Manilow.
Maybe a little candle.
Yeah.
Maybe you pop a gun in the waistband and Plaxico.
Yeah.
You never know.
Pants on.
You never know. All right, so we want to. I want to dabble a little bit into and I had wrote this up ahead of time. I had said 0-4 ? Teams or 1-3 teams. Is it panic mode? So 0-4 teams. There's only one. It's the Londonville Jaguars.
Yeah, I'd panic.
Yep. So I don't think you panic. I think you just realize that you're still fucking Jacksonville.
Yeah,
no matter what, you might as well call Blake Gabbert. Yeah, exactly. Stay in London. We'll come meet you.
They'll love you.
We'll come meet you.
Yeah, they'll love you.
Maybe we'll get the whole country to actually have just one jersey instead of just random football jerseys.
I'll get the London starter jacket.
the London Jags.
Yeah, the
starter.
London Jags.
Hey, we need to make that. Listen, starter, if you're listening, the London Jags.
Yes.
But no, so I think when we think about teams, that are 0-4, and the 1-3 teams. I don't know if you're looking that up.
I'm starting.
Yeah, what teams are 1-3? I had a picture I saved earlier, but when you really think about panic mode, I think it was more of the 0-2 teams really had to hit the panic. I think you had a couple of them in there.
Yeah, so the Ravens got back to 500.
Yeah, the Ravens were the big one,
which is interesting because they lost to the Raiders, which probably puts them at home.
Yeah, that was. I don't. We need to talk about gambling on that because that.
Yeah, so they were there. You have the Ravens, and I actually that division's interesting because the Steelers are 3-1, and I think they have a 3-1 level defense. I think Justin Fields for fantasy is good. It's like, where does that offense take them? Like,
yeah, I mean, I think the same place that I think the difference. I guess the difference is like, can their defense stay healthy? I think they'll be able to stay long enough. I don't think they'll be able to beat the Ravens out to make the playoffs, but they could be a 10-win team. You think Steelers?
I think because of Tomlin. I mean, he doesn't
and also
not go 500.
Yeah, and also, I mean, Cincinnati Cincinnati is good. They're garbage.
They always start slow. Yeah, they start slow.
Just like he made it. He's only made it to the Super Bowl once. What else has he done?
Well, he got hurt.
I know, it's always every year he gets hurt. Okay,
well, then that's a separate situation. So when he's healthy, they're great.
Are they?
The defense it's not him. The defense is a sieve.
I'm not here
to say... They gave up 31 points to fucking Andy Dalton. The defense is atrocious.
You're talking about Andy Dalton, though. The Red Rocket. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't drop 50. He's a Hall of Fame Super Bowl winning.
They cannot
minus all of that.
Stop anyone.
My problem...
the Commanders didn't punt. It's not Burrow. It's not Burrow. I mean, he looks good, actually.
Well, I know. Again, we can say the same question. What did they give him besides taking away?
What do you mean?
They took away his running back. They gave him no wide receivers. He didn't get to start neither one of his wide receivers.
And T. Higgins.
But Jamar Chase didn't start. What he was first? Did he end up? Okay, was it T. Higgins been hurt?
No, I will say this, but
his first game was
literally the preseason. But that's my point. So there's a team that you might want to buy low on. I'm just saying, if they can figure out the defensive thing. Because
are we trying to make a little side wager that they will absolutely not make the playoffs? You think they have a chance?
You got to give me odds at 1-3, though.
Well, no. Come on, first off.
Oh, hold on. Let's look. Let's say what the market says.
All right. Because I would make a small wager that I don't think that Joe Burrow will visit the Super Bowl.
I'm talking about. I'm saying
that'd be my long-term bet, but I don't think they'll make it. I don't think they. What does Vegas want? What are they saying?
Give me a second.
No problem.
Stall for me.
All right. So in the middle of the night, I go walking in my.
Do that.
I thought I was.
Hold on.
Sing it. I mean, nothing.
Playoffs.
I think one of the best quarterback games I've ever got to watch is when I saw Joe Burrow versus Trevor Lawrence when they were both playing.
Dude, this is nuts. You want to know what Vegas thinks? What do you think?
1,300
to make the playoffs?
Oh no, I was thinking. The playoffs.
So yes, no. Yeah, that's the bet. Yes, no. What do you think the line is? What do you think?
To make the playoffs?
What do you think? It's plus 104.
To make the playoffs?
Yeah.
What are they? They really think the division's that bad?
Because I think they're handicapping because they're normally slow starters.
Gross.
Yeah, they like to warm.
So
they like the foreplay.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
really worked. It's really worked out for them. For them, well, yeah. I don't know. I don't think that's a team that. It's one of those things, man. It's like, unless you get even it took LeBron to make anything in Ohio good for a day.
What was that?
That was a very Halloween sound right there. It was a very.
That's interesting. It's only plus money.
That's
they don't
stupid.
Just so.
That's stupid. So you would do a side wager? What would you say? I would bet. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's that much.
I'll do it straight up.
Again, so based on my budget, I got to keep it under.
I'll bet you some wings.
I would. Oh, I was gonna say keep it under $10,000. Yeah,
that's a lot of wings.
Well, no, a lot under $10,000. I was thinking like $5.
No, that's fine. I'll bet you $5.
We'll do 10 boneless.
There we go. I drink bone in, so.
All right. Oh, bone in. Yeah, I want bone in too. Yeah.
So
I thought you were a boneless guy.
No, I don't drink chicken.
I thought you said that's why I got boneless last time. I thought you told me before. Oh, I would have got regular Degget wings or boneless.
You got boneless.
Oh,
but I ate them.
I'll eat any chicken. I am
traditional. I mean,
yeah. Oh, I love some, man. I'm a drum guy though. I'm a big drum guy.
I'll eat all of it.
I'm not a flapper. I think if I could have all drums, love it. They cost more, but I'll mix and match. So you heard it here first.
So that's the NFC team, or that's the AFC team that I would say not. I mean, that could still make a push. Jaguars are dust. Titans are dust. Browns are dust unless they actually make a.
Nah. Even if Chubb comes back, nah.
No, if they switch to Jameis, they have a good defense. So I'm actually talking myself into this right now.
You're kind of talking.
They have a playoff if they make a quarterback change. They can't do it.
They got to get by who?
They can't do it.
They got to get out of their division. They got to beat the Ravens. They got to get out of that division with Ravens.
So
Steelers,
like
right?
that division sneaky.
Ravens and Steelers.
Yeah.
Right? Is that Ravens Steelers?
Yeah, but they can get wild cards. But yeah, I don't. It's a fair point. Broncos are a paper. Dude, the Broncos and the Raiders are 2-2. Jesus Christ. Chargers are always going to play hard. Harbaugh is going to get that team in the playoffs.
I could see that. That would be a very.
Dude, Harbaugh
if you're putting in,
he's such a good.
Because it is coaching. Because man,
dude,
they
outplayed the Chiefs and they were injured as shit.
Outplayed the shit out of them. And you saying, hey, and it wasn't like he was back there on a healthy ankle.
No,
like you could see he couldn't push the ball as far.
Those guys,
yeah.
Harbaugh,
and that was without Joe Alda and their other tackle.
If you're a Michigan fan, and I'm going to say this as a Nerf fan, I'd be nervous because we saw what happened when Harbaugh left Stanford. It was about a 2-3 year window where that culture started to weed itself out, and then the new culture came in, and now they suck. And in the NFC, I'm nervous about the Eagles, man.
I think the Eagles are done. I would put a bet on there. They will not. I don't think the Eagles
they have the talent. I don't think the talent there's something going on in that locker room. There is something going on in that locker room.
Can I give you my very lack of football knowledge opinion just based on what I've seen?
Yeah, walk me through it.
I love the Kelsey's podcast because he explained something in the politest way he could. A lot, and I'm not saying every quarterback does this because I think that when you have a mobile quarterback, they have less control over maybe offensive line and defensive, like audibles on the line. But apparently, and I didn't know this, and maybe this is true with a lot of teams that I don't know, but Kelsey was running almost all of the protection audibles.
That's part of it too.
Which I thought that most quarterbacks had to do that automatically.
No, typically, well, it depends on the offense. Typically, the center at the pro level, will call the ball. So if it's to your point, there is nuances, but yeah, Kelsey's right. I mean,
because looking at it seems, and again, this is just, and I'm not a pro scout, nothing.
No,
I'm saying from my vision, this is my vision looking at it. He doesn't seem prepared to take that ball a lot of times.
Yeah. So the other thing to me is if that's the angle, which I agree with Kelsey, well, he would know better than I would, but I'm not going to pretend. But they drafted a center to eventually take over for him 2 years ago to train to do this. So if he's not ready, that's fucking coaching.
Yeah, it's amazing.
He was a second round pick.
So their scheme is to continue that trend of having.
He was basically hey, we love what we have out of Kelsey. Let's have him train. Right? It was the good thinking.
It just didn't happen, or he's just not coming along enough, or what you think?
Well, I mean, I think Kelsey was just so freaking good.
That's such a big, that's a big thing to lose.
People,
man.
I think that's what people are not understanding. He was just so good. But I think it's a Sirianni thing. There's something in that locker room. Hurts and him aren't jiving.
They've never
been. And then when they lost Steichen and they lost Gannon, who went to Arizona, and Steichen's in Indy. When they made the Super Bowl, Steichen's a really good offensive coach, really good. And I think it masked a lot of Sirianni's misgivings.
Weaknesses, you could say, technically. Yeah.
Because they didn't end strong. They got their ass handed
they
to them
murdered.
in the
they
playoffs
were
by Tampa.
Yeah.
I mean, just
served.
At home.
Yeah.
And so
so did Dallas. That was a fun week.
Well, yeah, but
anyway, yeah.
I think the Eagles are in trouble. They make me nervous. I think they have the talent. That's not the argument. But I think
they're looking like a Dallas team.
There's some poison in that locker room.
Where some things is
Dallas is 2-2. How do we feel about them?
They're not going to make playoffs like they do every year. They're not going to make playoffs.
Dude, here's my thing. The Commanders are 3-1.
There's a chance the Commanders and the Giants are better than the Eagles.
No.
And I look at it.
I mean, not talent wise, but
no. I'm not saying talent. I'm saying record and how they're going to make somehow. Because here's the deal. I think the heart and soul that's whatever's in Washington, whatever's setting fire to Washington is working, and people are scared. That Arizona game blew me apart. Washington was 32 out of 32 in defense, and they left. They figured it out, and they kept Murray to 1 touchdown. They didn't let him run. Didn't let him scramble. They shut down
that was
Connor.
wild. That was interesting.
That blew up all of my parlays. Because literally, I was like, how are you not scoring on him? It's just Dallas is always going to choke because the only thing that's ever changed since they've won a Super Bowl, there's only one thing they haven't tried to change, and that's the owner.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Once he passes or whatever else, then maybe people will be allowed to be, whatever they want.
Yeah.
You can't have the greatest offensive line, the greatest wide receivers, running backs, and not win.
I think the Seahawks are going to fade.
Oh, you really do? Really?
I mean, I think they're going to be a good offense, but like,
well, they're deep. Aren't they missing? Now, am I wrong?
They're
missing like 4 people on their
they're
defense.
paper tigers. Like they beat like the Broncos barely at home. Broncos have a good D. And then I think it's one of those teams once they start playing better teams. Like you see this all the time. They start 3-0 and then they start to play the varsity.
Well, that whole division out there is not really.
Well, Niners are 2-2. Cardinals are 1-3. Rams are 1-3.
Rams have the coaching and the team, but they don't have the injuries. I think are hurting them too bad.
We want to talk about our Bears. They're the most fraudulent 2-2 team I've ever seen in my life. They should have lost to the Titans if it weren't for Will Levis.
Hey, listen,
Will Levis
don't you say shoulda.
And
just because he threw the ball to our team twice, look,
threw to him twice. To the point Callahan walked over to him and goes, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like a child, and he was right. Like, I mean, I don't know what else you say in that.
I said he's about to throw a pick here when he was getting, and then he fell to the ground and threw.
Like, just take the sack and go on your merry way. Like,
what was this? It wasn't even.
I mean, I'll take it. I was a Bears fan,
I'm very excited.
The Rams had the ball inside the 10, and like, I'm telling you,
it's not the Bears' fault for stopping them just because they
won the game. No one's. I mean, I'm here for it. I got to give my synopsis of it.
I mean, we can't ruin the stats that no other quarterback ever drafted number 1 has won his first 2 home games. So we got Caleb breaking records.
But that division's nasty, man. I mean,
Dude,
you got 4-0 Vikings, and they're good.
There's no other.
You got Lions 3-1.
There's only one NFC team that really, right now, based on how they're playing both sides of the ball, that I think could make it to the damn Super Bowl, and it's the fucking Minnesota Vikings.
I know, you're 100% right.
And I said I had a podcast Friday, and I brought the question. I go, "Who you think Super Bowl?" And then I said, "Chiefs are going to fight." I'm saying it as the game. I didn't know.
Yeah, true.
Mid pot. I go. So I didn't know where she was done, but I was like, yeah, it's tough to say in the NFC. I mean, it's only been 4 games, but man, Minnesota is just putting.
It's crazy. There's not a 0-4 team in the NFC. I don't really have a 1-3 team.
No.
The 2-2 teams. The 2-2 team is the Packers. I can't believe I'm fucking saying that out loud. But
but without Jordan, Packers have a chance. But I think
the Niners. But like, it's more in the AFC of like.
There's such a toss-up in the AFC. Like, don't you think if you're Josh Allen, get the fuck out and go? Man, what if you just snuck out middle of the night, sneak over there, find somewhere just to...
Like what the Baltimore Colts did?
Middle of the night, creep into the city. Hey, hey. I don't know. But no, I don't want to spend too much time on that. I think we... I was more excited to see if there would be more 0-4 teams, but there wasn't, and... right back to the Jaguars, but
I mean, if the Dolphins figure out a quarterback situation, maybe them and the AFC.
How do you feel about? Nah, I don't want to go down that road. That'll be too long. We're gonna save that. I need one. But week 6, we're gonna start talking about some veteran QBs.
We are,
and what they've done and where they've gotten. Kind of excited about that. But no, so we're gonna do a little segment. Give me that D. So when you're thinking about taking, you're looking at the waiver wire, you need a D. You want to take a D. You need to ride that D as hard as you can to win a game. So you got to look at the waiver wire, and you're out there. You're ready to take a hard D, and you're just confused. You're looking at the same 5 teams playing a similar game. So what me and Retro decided to do, we both picked 2 different waiver wire defenses, and tried to kind of correlate them with how they can make sense to you. So, excuse me. So I'm gonna start. My first one is I'm picking the Denver Broncos. They're playing probably the second worst team. I'll just say it. Second worst team in football. They're playing the Raiders, who in the past 48 hours have said we will do anything to trade our best wide receiver, and we don't really want to start defense even if they're hurt. So I'm going to stay with the Broncos because I feel like the Raiders have always done what they're going to do, and they are going to be a failed organization ran by their owner who cannot find a right barber. So that's where I'm going to start and I'm going to end. So congrats, the Raiders. You have failed your organization for another year. So that's my first give me that D defense. So who do you got, Retro?
So I got, if they're available, the Saints, and they might not be because they won early games, but they play Kansas City, and that's the wild one. That's the contrarian. Like everyone thinks about it, but like the Saints have not been putting up points. So like if you're in desperation mode and people are dropping
the Chiefs. You said the Saints.
No, the Saints defense. I'm sorry, the Chiefs haven't been putting up points. So like teams might drop people might drop the Saints. Pick them up if you're in desperation mode and you can't get it. The other one, and you talked about it, Kyle.
Yeah, they're available in 6 out of 8 leagues.
Are they? Okay. Yeah. So
and by the time you hear this, I will have already picked them up.
It's going to be contrarian. Everyone's going to be like, "What are you doing?"
Right. It's a risk.
But they're not putting up. And the other one, they're not putting up points. The other one is the Commanders.
Ooh.
They play Cleveland, and you talked about it. You know, it's not a good defense, but a great matchup. Desperation mode. If like those guys aren't on there, the Panthers play the Bears. The Bears haven't been putting up a lot of offense, so it's you got to hold your nose when you do it.
Yeah,
but you play matchups. That's what it is.
Yeah,
like, you don't look at it overall. It's matchups. Like, hey, this offense can't do shit.
Yeah,
and I hate to say that as a Bears fan. I hope that this is the get right game as a Bears fan for Caleb and the offense, and maybe I'm wrong. That's why I put it as desperation. A look ahead spot. There's bye weeks. Okay. People might drop Philly because they're on a bye week to pick up another defense. Sometimes they hold 2, but if Philly gets dropped and you have a roster spot or it's a extended roster and you can pick up a defense because you have some, bum running back that just sits on your waiver wire just paying rent. They have, coming out of the bye, the Giants in Cleveland. So that's
Cleveland Giants, and then that Sin City team, the team that's real shitty too, and then Jacksonville.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, from a look-ahead spot, if you have the roster and you can do it, that's a spot.
Now, they have put up 0 points against Green Bay, 0 points against Atlanta, 0 points against Tampa, and then only 8 against...
Tough teams. Those are tough offenses.
Yeah, Green Bay was with Love. Atlanta...
That was in Brazil, too, where they couldn't wear their colors to the stadium.
Brazil. I like it. So my second... I went a little off the beaten path here, but I did well. I guess not too bad. So I went with the Indianapolis Colts to take. They're playing the London Jaguars. So again, I put down here: Jags are the worst team in football and should move to London. Dear God, this is terrible. Of course, that guy's name is Trevor. He looks like a Trevor and throws like a Trevor. So I would say pick up the Colts because the Jags, again, are the worst team. Now, I'm not saying, again, this is my far pick. I mean, I think the Colts are available in, I would guarantee, 90%. I mean, they're probably projected 4 points. They're probably one of the lowest. But I'm just saying, you got to think about it. The Jags are just so bad. It's going to happen. Even it's at Jacksonville because they don't have a home stadium. Again, it's at Jacksonville, not at London. So there's no chance they'll win that one. But that's our picks for that. Now, the last thing we're going to do today, folks, is we are here to give you a way to become a millionaire.
Well, yeah, you have the deep dive one.
So we did. It's called the No Way Parlay. So basically, we went ahead and put together some crazy odds. Now, I went a little bit more crazy.
Yeah, I should.
So look, this is our dichotomy here. See, I put together things that you probably will not win. If you do, you'll make a lot of money, but there's a very small chance you'll win. But the payouts are great, and Rhett will probably give you one that's more educated, and the reason why he probably does better in gambling. No. So looking at this Thursday, we're going to only tackle this Thursday's game. All right, so this Thursday's game is brought to you by Ham Sandwich. Ham sandwich is there to make you a sandwich filled with ham. So here's what I did. I went ahead and took Mr. Bucky Irving as, now keep in mind, I did a 3-leg parlay. If you don't know what a 3-leg parlay is, it's a lot like a 3-legged gentleman. So I went with the first touchdown scorer being Bucky Irving. Bucky Irving is a rookie, kind of blew up out of nowhere. Went ahead and took over the running back spot of Rashad White, who I had drafted, assuming he would have a big year. So I got Bucky Irving as a first touchdown scorer. Now, what I went ahead and paired with that is my buddy Rhett told me about this guy, Mike Evans. Apparently, he catches a lot of touchdowns, and the odds for him getting one pretty high. So I got Bucky Irving, first touchdown score, Mike Evans, anytime touchdown score. My third part of this parlay, you got to keep in here. I want to throw an asterisk on there. There's Bijan has, I believe, a little bit of a hitch in his giddy up, maybe a hamstring issue, and that can hurt a running back pretty bad. If he does not start, okay, I'm adding this third leg here, Tyler Algier, anytime touchdown scorer. Now keep in mind, the odds are very strong now because I assume maybe Bijan won't play. If Bijan plays, there's 0% chance this parlay will hit. But if you do like a 0%, that's why you follow Kyle here on his gambling bets. So that $5 that you bet on this, Bucky Irving first time, Mike Evans anytime, Tyler Algier, $5 brings you $416, which is the cost of most people's small, tiny home mortgage or a rotisserie chicken at Martin's.
Nice.
Yes. Mr. Retro, what do you got?
So, love the Mike Evans anytime touchdown. If it's plus money, just as a single, the process is always play it. I mean, as it stands, that is the process.
Book it.
So, I actually have that in my parlay. So, I have Mike Evans anytime touchdown. I have Bucky Irving plus 50 yards rushing, which is at plus money. You can also take his over-under, but you're going to pay like minus 115, which is like at 44.5. But I took Bucky plus 50 yards rushing. I took Kirk Cousins over 226.5 passing yards. And I took Cade Otton over 27.5 receiving yards. He's had 52 and 47 in the last 2 games.
That's a
good
one.
And he's had 9 and 8 targets. That's a 14-1. It's not as it's not as juicy.
Well, there's a reason.
I know, but I mean, like, and so a $10 wager makes you $140.
I'm doing that right now. Actually,
it's a 4-legger. Like I said, it's Mike Evans anytime touchdown, Bucky Irving, 50+ yards, alt rushing. I'm sorry, not receiving. Kirk Cousins over 226.5 passing yards, and Cade Otton 27.5 receiving yards.
Nice.
Now there's one other while we wrap this up.
Yeah, no, get it.
So me and Kyle, and I didn't invent this. I actually learned about this. We do what's called ladders. So if we think a rusher or receiver or even a passer, you can do touchdown ladders where, hey, their over-unders at 40. I think that they're going to rush for 100 yards, or we think they're going to explode. So you do the alt rushing yards, and you ride the ladder up. You ride it up.
Now, walk people through what that means.
So what it is, so for instance, like Bucky Irving, and I'm going to talk about his ladder, okay? Because I think the game script is going to be, well, maybe I'm wrong by this, but Tampa will be ahead.
Yeah. I can see it.
And then he runs. But also, to Kyle's point earlier, he's starting to take over the backfield. So, for instance,
I believe he has 65 to 70% of the damn backfield now.
Yeah. So
I'm bitter.
Right now, here's how you play it. And you can get creative here. So right now, Bucky Irving at 40+ rushing yards is minus 160. Fuck that. I'm going to do the 50+ at plus 105. Okay? Now, when there's a bunch of them, I don't always write it. I might do it like, hey, 50 to 70 to 90. Like, you can do it however you want. Depends on how you like to climb a ladder, Kyle. Depends on how you like to climb a ladder.
I got you.
You know? So the 60+ is plus 180, 70+ is plus 280, 80+ is plus 440. I want to do the 50 at 105. Boom. 70 at plus 280. I'm going to take the 80 at plus 440, and then I'm going to ride the ladder all the way up to the top. We're gonna be swatting drones at the top of this fucking ladder. Okay.
So let me. I want to stop real quick. Just so, like how you explain this to me, like what he's saying is basically because he kind of walked me through this, and I'm only explaining it because of how it helped me.
I learned
it's like he said, hey, we'll say Joku.
Yeah.
Money ladder. We climbed that ladder to the top.
Yeah.
So he goes, hey, so I put $1. I bet that he would get 50 yards. It paid out 110. So maybe I got what? It paid me 60.
So to your point, wagering is a part of this.
I basically put $1, he'd get 40 yards. $2, he gets 60. But then that $2 paid out 4. And then I'm like, hey, I'll pay $3, he gets to 80 yards. I would skip every 20 yards.
Yep.
So then that $3 at 80 yards now paid $15. Then I'd be like $4 at 100. So then all the way up the ladder, maybe you make 16 cents, but then $1, and then 4, and then 8, just like with Gino last night.
Exactly.
My $4 bet ended up paying me out $47 because I had climbed that ladder. So that's what it means.
It's fun.
Is basically you're betting.
It's also fun when they
You're going
to hit everyone.
It was I had the over on 325. Go, hey man, why is he stuck at 325?
I was
like, come on.
Yeah, so like
knock me off this ledge.
So you can, like I said, you can get creative. It is fun. You can find edges in the props. So like I look at it this way, like I think it's wild because Atlanta is 25th in rush yards per game. They have a good pass defense, good secondary. Because you could look at the K-Dot, and I put that in the parlay. There's obviously a good ladder for him, and he's been getting 9 and 8 targets. Maybe you do receptions for K-Dot if
He's
you
been
want.
Getting 9 at a game.
The last 2 games.
Damn.
Yeah, so he got 52 and 47 yards.
How do you get that many targets? That's crazy.
So like maybe you do receptions for like you can have fun with it. Like if you have an angle on something like.
So you can climb the ladder on over 3, over 4.
Oh no,
over 5.
I was so pissed at Cordero. He would have made me.
Everything. He was attached to all the Bucky ones that I hit. He was not attached.
And
Even the Aaron Jones.
Yards and I'm like, our angle was right. Like, hey, he's taking over. He's running hard, and like injury happens. What can you do? But like Bucky Irving's one that I think he's starting. Like we saw it last game. He's starting to take over the backfield. Rashad White is a good pass catcher, good third down back, not a good runner.
Yeah.
An interesting one, if you really wanted to go there, just a single, check this out. I actually was toying around, and this, I know we're wrapping this up.
No, we're good. I want to hear about
this.
This
so
is
you take
most fun part for me.
Bucky to score 2 touchdowns. Okay, all right. And here's my little, because I felt bad because I only gave you some 14-1. So Mike Evans to score the first touchdown.
Ooh, I like that because that was one. Or that was
he's at plus 800. Bucky to score 2 touchdowns. It's plus 14685.
Hold on, let me get in here. Guys, if you don't think that I'm actually listening to these bets, I'm actually doing it right now.
So, a dollar bet makes
first?
you 146. 10 makes you $1,400. Yeah, you can probably wait on some of this. I don't think the odds are going to change too much and they might have promos where you can have some fun with it. But
I'm at
no sweat.
14,685 for Mike Evans first, Bucky 2.
Yeah, or
hold off because you might be able to get that little. You might be able to get the money back, no sweat.
Yeah,
if you hold out a little bit,
and have some fun with it, and do that. But something like that, or just a straight Bucky 2 touchdowns is plus. It's 11-1.
And that's when you said a lot. Don't be creepy. That's almost when you go, man. If his 11-1, I get him to.
I know.
Maybe try to parlay that with.
So I'm down with those parlays. But take the fucking single.
Yeah, do the first and then
to back up the capital you're putting in on the crazy.
Yeah. See, I'm always that. Yeah,
I hear you on that.
I'm that non-tailor-made. When I go ahead and trail somebody's bet, I go, no, what'd you have? All right, I'm going to add in kicker to get a touchdown. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's just something crazy. He goes, well, if you add this.
I saw somebody that was telling me a weird rule where, this is a great idea, where the commissioner for a fantasy football league added, if a quarterback gets a tackle, it's 100 points. So, they would be playing like Nathan Peterman because he'd throw for 4 picks and he'd go for
Will Levis is on everybody's team.
That's what I'm saying. It's he's going to throw for 10 yards but have a tackle. So it's
that's filthy.
It made me laugh. But
that would be fun to have a fantasy team. You just start throwing in random ass rules hey, if a quarterback gets a touchdown, they should get 10 points for that touchdown reception.
Oh yeah,
Hands
I
down.
think so too. Yeah, play it like the odds a little.
Dude, man, our main league. So, I hope Justin, if you're listening, never noticed our main league stops. You get 5 points max on kicks. So I've got Aubrey dropping 24 points in most of my fantasy leagues. I drafted Aubrey.
Wait, what do you mean, Max?
If you get a 60 point, you don't get 6 points. If you get a 65er, you don't get.
I thought you meant they could only get 5 points.
No. The max they can get is 5 points. Like, so if it's a 50-yarder, you get 5 points. 55, 5 points. 60, 5 points. My 63-yarder he fucking kicked, 5 points. I was like, what? I mean, I still won that week, but I was like, what? Like, if you're gonna have kickers,
or just get rid of the fucking kicker.
Listen, I've tried. I've got one league we're fine because you think about it, everything. Oh well, it's the cost benefit. Because look, you can really think outside the box.
Stop.
No,
you can't.
Get rid of a kicker. Add a flex.
And yes,
then you have.
Or
then
add
tell
a
me.
super
Look
flex.
at tell me that there's more options on you picking that kicker
yes.
or that flex.
And understand outcomes. Like,
I'm not even talking super flex. I'm talking just
or whatever anything.
running back,
and
wide receiver,
have some
tight
fun
end.
with outcomes.
Like,
yeah,
I will guarantee I can think that Cole Kmet could have a better.
And
week than
nowadays
this
with the
kicker.
analytics, they fucking go for it all the time. The kicker, nobody's kicking on fourth down anymore unless they're chumps.
Yeah, I think that now. No, don't get me wrong. This has been the biggest kicking. Whatever. I think they started.
they're accurate.
They started P testing because now kickers are missing. Something happened. The first week, a couple weeks, I was like, what? But I still think that at the end, I think that we should bring back like a little bit of NHL type of rules at the end of the game. Overtime happens, right? If you and maybe it's double overtime this happens, but let's just say, kickers, whatever. End of the game, it's overtime. Your kicker, you kick from the 40. You make it, cool. I kick from the 40. I make
keep
it
backing
cool.
people up.
45,
I love it.
50, 55, 60.
It's
Just
like a
see
game of horse.
It's like the shootout in hockey, kind of.
it's like a
think
game of
about,
horse,
dude,
baby.
think about how then you'd be like, damn, we need to think because those kickers that can
That's
do
a wild-
70, they pulled him because it would have been a 63, but then they got a penalty. It would have been like something 68. He was like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
He kicked 71.
Yeah, no.
At practice, like 71 is so far away.
Yes, it's insane.
It's so stupid. Like when people think about that, like, oh, stand there and look at 70 yards away. That's bananas.
Insane.
Yeah.
Well, he's a former soccer player in Notre Dame.
Yeah.
You know how he got the job? His wife was like, you could do that. And he's like, all right, I'll give it a whirl. I swear to God.
I know. I saw this story. I was like, wait, what? Because he's like 27 or something.
Yeah,
isn't
no,
he?
I mean, he played soccer at Notre Dame. He never
He's
kicked.
like, yeah, probably like our punter when he goes, yeah, they started. He goes, yeah, I started figuring out how to kick the.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
He's like, you could do that. He's like, yeah, I'll go out. And he started practicing in high school and then won a job.
He's like,
And like,
hey, babe, I got the gig. Thanks.
yeah, exactly.
Thanks, babe.
You don't need to work now.
Yeah. Ah, shit. Well, hey, that's what we have for this week. So we're going to be doing this, probably trying to do this every 2 weeks, just giving kind of people a heads up. It's our fantasy. We do it Tuesdays, so this is going to come out tomorrow. So if you wake up in the morning, you can peep out the episode, listen to see who's on the waiver wire.
Hell yeah.
And if you're not happy with our gambling, again, we are not financial
advisors.
We are strictly
Want to
just here.
stipulate that?
Yes, just here to hold that pull down and make those singles.
Mm-hmm.
But from me and from Retro and from everybody
Let's
else
go.
in the Mishawaka, South Bend, Indiana area.
Michiana.
Yeah, take you some. Yeah, right.